So thank you for joining, Sudip sir, and taking out time. Uh, my first question to you, for this session is, it's very important to get the context right. So I would request you to share a little bit more about your school days, about your college days, any incidences that you would like to share with us before we get into your leadership journey. Anything from your college and school days.
Well, I've had a fairly uneventful school and college life, except the fact that my father was in central government service, and therefore we moved from one city to another, one state to another every 4 or 5 years. And therefore, I have had the opportunity to live and study in many different places. I've started in Patna, then we went to Barkakana, then we went to Guwahati, then we went to Calcutta, and then we went to Delhi. So I think in the first 20 years of my life, I have been in 5 different cities in different states. And in the process, what happened was I obviously learned different languages. I studied in different schools. I made different friends. And, I had the opportunity to interact with many, many people. I think that was a good way to get started. And, part of my family history is that everybody sort of came from different places and we amalgamated. And, in that context, I should mention that my parents came from East Pakistan, now Bangladesh. My in-laws came from West Pakistan, which is Lahore, and I live in Bangalore. So, I consider myself a truly, a subcontinental Indian. There's really no specific incident that I want to narrate, except the fact that, the school and college that I attended, very fortunately were places where, I got the opportunity to meet with a lot of people who've become, very successful in life. I mean, I ended up at with Don Bosco schools everywhere.
So would be important to know what did you study in your college, right? Just to build the context before we get to the next. So what the programs did you study?
Well, I studied economics, so
Okay.
quite far away from IT because IT didn't exist as a course when I was a student.
Right. So, going forward, sir, you have seen the complete, or you've witnessed the growth of IT in India. When this was very early stages to becoming one of the most prominent industries in the country in terms of employment, in terms of opportunities. Would love to know that part. How did this whole IT boom start, and how did it grow? And how do you see IT playing a role in the future? So walk us through that journey of the growth of IT in India.
So I joined the IT industry quite by chance in 1979, and at that point in time, the IT industry was basically computer manufacturing industry. There was no other part of that industry. Today, there are many different parts, and computer manufacturing had just started. And I joined a startup, as you would say in today's terminology, although that lexicon didn't exist at that point in time. So I joined Hindustan Computers Limited. It was a joint sector undertaking between the UP government and a private company called Microcom. And that company is today HCL Technologies, so it's gone through many name changes. And it was, as I said, in computer manufacturing. And I worked there for the first 4 years. And as I said, the the start of the industry really happened at that point in time. And we were the transitioning from the unit record machines, the card punch machines, if some of you remember, from there on to microprocessor-based computer systems. So that was the initial part, and my role was basically that of a bag-carrying salesman. So I was then called a sales executive. And then in '83, I joined another startup. Again, as I said, the lexicon was very different then, and that was Wipro. And I spent the largest part of my career, 25 years at Wipro. So from 1983 to 2008 was when I have been in Wipro. So I've seen Wipro grow in every aspect. So when I started, we had, I think I was maybe employee number 255 or something in that range. And today the company has more than 160,000 employees. And in that organization, we started with I was not present for the first closing, but the second closing onwards, I was there. So, so that turnover at that point in time was 6 crores, which today is roughly about 57 or 58,000 crores, So that was my start in that. And as I said, that I've been through most parts of that organization. Again, computer manufacturing to start with, and setting up offices and setting up service centers. The first part of my job, I had moved from being a salesman to an area manager, and then to being a regional manager, and then general manager sales before, and that all happened for the first 10 years, in '83 and '93. And at that point in time, the first signs of an services industry were coming up. So, the IT services industry as we know it today, at that point in time, was the real starting point. And so all the companies who were then largely manufacturers moved to becoming or taking the opportunities which are available in the services side. We started in the services side in a very small way, doing Y2K projects and doing maintenance work, etc., largely for overseas clients. And I would say many of those overseas clients found us, because they were wanting to explore the opportunities of the talent which was available in India. So that was the first part of that industry. And then, of course, it went through many other stages. So a few years later, remote infrastructure management became another area where the Indian IT services industry took advantage of the opportunities. Then came BPM, then came CAD/CAM services, and so on and so forth. And now we do almost everything, end to end in the services space, including cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, etc. And all the companies you will find have all these offerings today in their stable. So that's how the industry grew. And when I look back 40 years after when I started, we were an industry which started with zero revenues at that point in time. And today, in terms of revenues, we are a $180 billion industry. And I think that's a matter of great pride for both India as well as the industry in general. We employ directly more than 4 million people, and as a additional employment, quasi-employment in other areas, about 6-7 times that number. And most of today's generation would definitely either be a part of that industry or would have siblings or friends or family members who are part of that larger industry. So that, of course, is a source of great pride. And the other aspect of it is that we have been able to establish ourselves globally as the country where you get the best technical talent in terms of IT services. So that, I would say, Hemant, is how the industry has evolved, and I have been fortunate to be witness to the entire growth story of the industry for all these years.
So great. So thank you, Sudip, for walking us, through the journey. And I think starting as a sales member of a computer manufacturing company to moving to Wipro in early years, spending 25 years and changing teams, functions to becoming one of the key executives, and then starting another IT company, which was L&T InfoTech. You have seen it all. You have achieved so much in life. What is the secret sauce? You studied economics, you led several IT companies. You are on board of some of the most prominent companies like L&T InfoTech, L&T Technologies, and IFB Industries, which is in manufacturing. So, what is the secret sauce? How do you? What is your advice to students who are listening to you today? In how should they start their careers? What are the key ingredients that they should keep focusing on to have an excellent career like yours?
When you ask me about secret sauce, I feel that, I wish I had another 20 more years. Unfortunately, I don't, at least in terms of working life.
हाँ सर, मैंने आपको होस्ट बनाया है, आप है ना होस्ट, अभी देखिए.
Yeah, should I continue? Should I continue? Anyway, I hope people are able to hear me. And I said that, I don't have that another 20 years, because today the number of opportunities which are there to do different things are just fantastic. It wasn't there when I started 40 years ago. And these opportunities are in different areas. They're not just in one or two areas of technology or this one. You see, manufacturing has undergone so much change. Take the example of the automobile industry. The whole industry is shifting to e-vehicles, whether it's e-vehicles and two-wheelers or three-wheelers or four-wheelers. So even a traditional old industry is offering today a whole lot of new opportunities. E-commerce didn't exist 10 years ago. Today, the number of opportunities in that space is just incredible. You're seeing commercial uses of space research, and the possibilities of what that will do for the next 15, 20, 25 years are immense. So there is a great number of industries and a great number of possibilities which today's passing out generation have. The other very good thing which wasn't available in our time is that today you don't have to be a job seeker at all. You can immediately become a job creator. In my time, the situation was such that, if you think of the factors of production theory, which is, men, money, materials, you had if you wanted to become a job creator, you first had to have money. Money would buy you machines, and then you could hire people, and then that was what the whole factors of production theory was. Today, as long as you have a good idea, you'll find a lot of people willing to fund your idea. It's not difficult. So if you think of a great idea and you think that you're good enough to pursue that idea to make a business out of it, that opportunity exists today. It wasn't there, and that, I think, is a great change. Along with this too is the state of the country. We were then in a different, economic parameter, very different, because we followed different types of policies. We weren't an open economy at that point in time when I started. And therefore, the opportunities got stifled because of the policies that we were pursuing at that point in time. That has changed in the last 25, 30 years. The economy is opened out. The country is opened up. You have the possibility of working or becoming an entrepreneur either in India or overseas, and the amalgamation of what people are doing overseas, and they're coming in and they're seeing India as a large market, and therefore the opportunities, and a few to going elsewhere and expanding, that has also opened up. So with all of this, I think the position that today's generation has is very different. And that's why I said that I wish I had, 20 more years ahead. So the secret sauce, coming back to your question, is that you should take advantage of what the current opportunities are. Many are new in new areas. And then, a little bit of luck, in terms of being available at the right place at the right time. I think that combination would take you far. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. And now, what is life like after all these achievements? If you look back at all these years that you have had leadership positions and now board memberships, what is life like after all this? Looking back, what do you cherish the most? What are the happiest moments that you look back and really enjoy?
So in terms of the moments that I would think of, it is the being there when certain shifts happened in my industry, so from hardware manufacturing to IT services, I was there to take advantage of that shift. From being a domestic focused industry to a export driven industry, I was there to see that particular transition. To being a supplier of only software services, which was essentially coding and writing software, to infrastructure management, to EPM, to all other parts. I have seen it all. And I think the ability to be present in those, when history is written, I would say that, I was there at that point in time and I was able to transition from one to the other. I think those are very, very happy moments to cherish. The other side of it was that we were able to create such massive employment in this country. That is something I cherish. As an industry, we created a massive amount of urban employment, which wasn't there in any industry at the time when I became a part of the industry. And I think the last one I would say is that this industry has created so many wealth creators in the process of growing, and they in turn have invested back in the industry to foster further growth. I think these are achievements which is not personal but collective, and but being a part of all those collective achievements is something which I get a lot of satisfaction from.
Thank you, sir. And, my request to students and faculty members, after this question, we will be taking the questions from faculty members as well as students. So please write your questions in the group chat if you have any, so that I can, extend it to Sudip sir. So Sudip sir, the question is, like you mentioned, the change from manufacturing to IT services to, even in the IT services, so many changes happened. So, it would be really helpful to understand how did you manage this change, because today's students are seeing the change in industry, change in the environment much faster than what was happening earlier. Industries are changing very quickly. Now with COVID, a lot of automation has happened. I was just reading a research which says almost by in the next decade, about 30% of the jobs will completely get replaced by automation and a new kind of jobs will emerge. So what is your advice to students? How did you manage change, and how can students manage change with the kind of speed at which things are changing right now?
Well, change is the only constant in life. Let me give the example of the electronics industry. If you remember, some of the products which were there in my time, they don't even exist today. So, the gramophone record doesn't exist anymore. Then we came to the cassette player. That doesn't exist anymore. Then we came into the Walkman era. That doesn't exist anymore. And now we've come to the mobile phone, which is a combination of a computer, a phone, and a music system, and so many other things together. So if I look at the products I started with, and this a similar thing, I can go into office equipment. There used to be the good old typewriter when I started my career, and one used to write inter-office memos and quotations on that. Before that moved to the desktops and has now moved to even handheld devices. So in every industry, those changes have occurred. In some industry, it's been faster. In some industry, it's been a little slower. Change will happen, and the way to handle change is to embrace it, and embrace it first before others embrace it. If you try to sort of resist change, and if you try to, or you want to wait till everybody else has adopted change, then you will be left behind. So my advice to everybody is that if you see the first hint of a change in whatever sector you are in, embrace it fully. And be the first to embrace it, because the ones who embrace it first are the ones who actually benefit the most out of these changes. There's nothing to fear about change. Typewriters went out, but it got replaced by something else. The type of music systems which we were used to as a child, they've gone. It's been replaced by something else. And in each of these changes, actually the number of users and the number of companies and number of products have increased exponentially. They're not gone down. So nobody is actually lost. You just mentioned about 30% of the jobs will get lost to automation. Well, it is one category of job. But think of all the new categories of jobs. How many more people are going to get employed in cybersecurity programs? How many more people are going to get employed in artificial intelligence programs? How many more people are going to get employed in all the other new things which will happen further in the future? The overall employment in every industry has gone up. About 4 or 5 years ago, when this first noise started about, the lot of jobs going to get automated, people were wondering whether all these IT companies, IT services companies, will reduce their employment numbers. You look at the last 5 years, all employment numbers, the headcount in all these companies have gone up. You add all the headcounts associated with the e-commerce companies, and also the user side, and you'll find that the total number of people in IT or technology, broader, let's say, using the broader framework, has gone up, has not gone down. So I don't think anybody, particularly this generation, needs to be afraid of the changes which will come. They should embrace change, and finally they will find that they will be the winners.
Yeah, perfect. So, sir, as a follow-up to that, if you see, you get to speak to so many young executives in different companies. You're a part of the board. What are the key qualities that you have seen make these executives successful? Because our students are going to set themselves on these journeys in the next few, and it's not just that everybody needs to be an entrepreneur. Becoming entrepreneurial is the first step. And what are these qualities which make someone entrepreneurial, and how have you seen young executives show these capabilities or these characteristics?
So one of the things I'd like to point out to people is that you need to be very flexible. And this flexibility is in terms of going where the opportunities are. The opportunity may not be in your hometown. I just told you I consider myself as truly subcontinental. My parents came from different places. I grew up in the east and in the north. And then I started working in the south and living in the south. And then I had also a stint in the west, in Bombay, with L&T InfoTech. So being flexible in terms of where you want to be, you should go where the opportunities are. That's a very important quality. The second is to always, be a part of what is happening around you. Sometimes people get so bogged down by what they're doing that they don't see around themselves in terms of what's new, what is happening in terms of expansion, what are the possibilities in terms of innovation, So being aware of what is happening around you, is very important. Third is, reading. If you don't read, you won't go too far, because it's only when you read, that you will get to know who's doing what. Reading should not stop when you get out of university. If anything, it should increase. Set aside a couple of hours to read, and this reading has got to be other than your leisure reading. So this has got to be reading business magazines. It's got to be reading business and books. It's got to be, watching videos of, companies and products and projects and activities around you, and news, So I think those are some of the things which young people need to, keep in mind as they embark on their career.
So being flexible and looking out for the opportunities and chasing them and finding them early by being more conscious of what's going on is very important. So we have a quick question from, I think, Mr. Gaurav, that a lot of technology companies have their own programs like SAP, IBM, where they're extending curriculum or support to universities in creating industry-ready programs. Does L&T have any programs like that to support universities in updating their curriculum or making students ready for the future opportunities?
L&T has a very good internal program, where they do a lot of work, pre-work. And they have also a very good training program for people who come into the system. As far as working with universities are concerned, the program is restricted to the years when there is a need to do it. So for example, if you are unable to join immediately, after graduating, what do you do? And I think for those sort of things, and the latest on that, if you are in touch with the HR team in L&T, they will tell you from time to time, what are the best ways in which you can keep updating yourself before you, let us say, join the company. And as far as helping universities is concerned, there's a lot of work which goes on, interaction with universities, telling them, what is the latest and how to do things which will benefit them when they get into industry. Oh yes, there's a lot of work which goes on in that area.
Thank you, Sudip sir, for taking time out for this conversation, sharing your words of wisdom. I think the it would be very important to have your final thoughts or words of wisdom for the students of Swarrnim University who have just started their new academic year in a very digital way. The mode of learning and teaching has changed. Students have far more effort that they have to put in staying focused, and maybe that's the future of learning, which is going to be digital and more self driven, and your teachers becoming your partners in learning. So what will be your final thoughts with the students?
Well, I think, as I started when just before everybody logged in, and I was saying that, every aspect of life has changed in this pandemic. The way we work, the way we live, the way we interact with people, the way we study. And, you're talking about universities. Think about the changes which are happening to kids in school in 5th, 6th, 7th grade who are doing online classes today, and, their ability to adapt to all of that. So anytime when there is a change, and this one is a big change, students here have now an opportunity to learn digitally. And as a way of learning digitally, they have perhaps more time on their hands. I find myself much more productive today than when I was actually going out to an office. So I've created a home office, and I'm currently sitting in my home office. But that, travel time of about 3 hours that I have saved, I find myself to be much more productive. And I'm sure that that is true for many of you. And that will be true for this generation of students who will be able to pack in a lot more, than that they were doing earlier. The ability to pack in much more, I think their ability to learn and absorb what is happening will get enhanced. And new age universities like Swarrnim University, I think they are the future. The older universities may have a lot more difficulty in adopting to the new age way of learning, the new age curriculum, the new age facilities, and the future. So I think it's a great thing for all students who have joined here and are starting classes here. And I hope that, in years to come, they will look back and say that my years at Swarrnim University started in the age of digital learning, and I was one of the pioneers in that particular field.
Thank you, Sudip sir. I am always in awe of the simplicity you have, and the way you live your life despite so many achievements. And so thank you so much. I think a big takeaway for all of us attending this session is the simplicity that you have always, adopted in life, or always you have followed. So thank you for taking out time. Now, I would request, my good friend and a very inspiring leader from whom I keep learning a lot, Adi, to take over and share his closing remarks. Thank you for the opportunity, Rishabhji, Dr. Jain, and Adi, and everyone in Swarrnim University. We look forward to working with you. We look forward to growing the platform with you. We look forward to getting all your ideas and all your support in making sure that we achieve a digital campus. So over to Dr. Jain.
Thank you, Hemant. Thank you for your thing. It was great to hear you, Hemant and Sudipji. Sudipji, thank you so much to be here with us with this Swarrnim Startup and Innovation University. The way you explained to the students and our faculty was something, as Hemant said, with the simplicity and with the full of knowledge that you have shared us, is something that we need to take it further into our life and understand that how your journey and how the technology and the emerging most successful companies been doing right now. And yes, Sudipji, thank you so much. As you said correctly, only the constant thing that is there here is the change. And the change is an opportunity for us, for the students, for the faculties, for all the university into the education that you've been trained to do it right now. You will also agree, Sudipji, with me that when you started with your career, with your education also, there was no such technology where it can become an easy for the students to learn to get an educated. As you grew, as Hemanji and I grew up, we also didn't have so much of good technology that we have been carrying out right now. So this pandemic 100% brought up as an opportunity for the education to get revolved around, and with this technology revolution, they have made no borders, they have made no limitations between it. And you know, the education, university and faculty can't live without the students. So the 6 months of away from our students, I would take all the students to be there with us through these online platforms, so that they can connect us, they can be with us, and we can be also with them. Because जो होता है ना कि जैसे मॉम माँ एक बच्चे के साथ नहीं रह सकती बिना बच्चे के, वैसे university and faculty can't live without their students. So these are the inspirations for us, and for those we have been doing everyday brainstorming. Every day we are making a revolution. And then we came up like thank you Hemanji, we came up and we shared the ideas of coming up with things of CollPoll and making the technology so much easy to these students, to our students, so that they can learn, they can educate more, and they can get connected to it. And 100% CollPoll has so advanced features which I have not seen in any other LMS, because I've gone through all the LMS right now with my over this duration into the universities. And 100% this CollPoll software and the technology have made easy so much for the students and faculties both to get advanced and to get learn about it. So thank you so much for you. And I also say to all the students and faculties that now this technology with the CollPoll have been so much advanced for you to learn up more, come up with the things of the learning part. It has so much good advanced technology before by Karthik Jain Provost, that there are different modules which are making them very easy for you to get studied on it, study online, get an examinations, get the quiz about. So I would request all the students to also be proactively do and get active onto this module. You've been all very much technology freak and technology easy. So we have made an initiative and a step towards your thing that why not you carry out this technology into the education also. So with the CollPoll and Swarrnim, this technology will make sure that you are not at all behind your education, and you get an A-grade education where you were there in physically in university, now online. So thank you everyone. Thank you for Sudipji to join us. Thank you Hemanji to be very humble and to make sure that this every launch program gets successful. Thank you so much, and thank you everyone here. And I also thank you Honorable Provost and the President sir to be here and to be the part of this program. And nevertheless, all the students, our alumni, and all the faculties to be here and to be in the part of launching event of Swarrnim and CollPoll for making all the education easy and technological. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
And Adi, just I think we have to also thank Dr. Gaurav for coordinating all the implementation. He has been
Gaurav
putting
and always Shivang is always a proactive one to be ready with the things, with the solution. Yes, sir, that we can do this. In fact, we shared many of the things how we can also bring up some good innovative technology. I had a discussion, then he said that yeah, we'll more discuss and we'll make a solution. So he's also very proactive from your team, and your team is so much supportive and so much actively involved with us. We don't feel that CollPoll is not a part of a Swarrnim, it's a Swarrnim.
Thank you.
And
Bye.
before we end, I think we should request Mr. Shivang Abhishek to give a brief introduction about Swarrnim's CollPoll ERP. Mr. Shivang Abhishek.
Thank you so much, Dr. Karthik. Thank you, Adi sir, for saying good things about me in front of my boss. Would help me in my next appraisal. Thank you so much.
You need no recommendation now. Hemant will get you got a recommendation now.
Right. Thank you, President sir. Thank you, Managing Director sir. Thank you, Adi sir. Yeah, so I will probably take the next 5 minutes. I won't. So we've already had a very interactive discussion with Sudip sir, Hemant, all of the people involved. I won't take much time. I think I've met the first year students once. This is another opportunity to speak to all of you once more. Just quickly showcase to you what all features would you have once you get your login ID and password to CollPoll. We aim to send all the login ID and passwords to all the students probably by tomorrow or by Thursday. Whatever is your registered email address, you'll get your login ID and passwords and the steps to log into your CollPoll account. Till then, I'll just share my screen very quickly and show you what all can you do on the CollPoll platform. Yeah, if you can see my screen, you will have this functionality on your mobile app, whether it's Android or iOS. We have both the apps. You can quickly go ahead, go to App Store and Play Store and download the CollPoll app. We are trying to give you a digital campus on your mobile apps. Right, you will have access to 40+ technologies. As Hemant was suggesting earlier, and as Sudip sir was also suggesting, that faculty should get more and more time to teach, and students in a university should get more and more time to learn. Apart from that, there are n number of administrative tasks that should be automated, and that is what we are trying to do. We're trying to automate that via your mobile app so that your time is best spent in what you are supposed to do, that is learn and teach. So I think the first year students are already experiencing it. We have had a brilliant photography challenge. I've seen students upload some beautiful pictures that they have clicked. There was a photography challenge that we did with all the first year students. Similarly, the entire point of having an app, having a digital campus on your mobile app, is to make sure we come together much more, we collaborate much more, we communicate much more. So starting from your joining the campus to you becoming an alumni, your end-to-end functions would be available on the mobile app. Your profile, your attendance, your grades, although I would not want to see my attendance on a regular basis, but you will have that option. In case you have not attended a class, you'll get to know about it. All those things will be via your mobile app directly. Your LMS would also be here. Any learning material that the faculty would want to share, any videos that the faculty would want to want you to watch, different discussion forum, chat rooms, all those things will be available. Your examinations can be conducted on the platform itself. We were speaking about technology so much. This is again a feature which is running on an AI algorithm. Probably we'll speak more about it later. As I was saying, contactless, paperless, and cashless operations, whether it's your finance, whether it's different requests that you're supposed to make, everything will be managed via your mobile app itself. Yes, now this is something that we have already started experiencing. Once every student comes on the platform, that is when this will become a much more holistic experience, where you can speak to each other via direct messaging. All your notices, all your communications will happen through here. Different feedbacks that you can take, all the events that is going to happen, you will get to know about it. Yes, so just putting everything together, we are trying to make sure that every different kind of communication that you do is streamlined together via one app, and it gives you a much smoother campus experience. Yes, so we will get started and we will share your login credentials to you very soon. Yes, thank you, Dr. Karthik, for letting me explain on a very brief note how it works to students. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Shivan. And I would also like to take this platform as an opportunity to announce the names of winners, various competitions which we conducted during Swarrnim orientation program for starting the new batch. In general quiz category, winner is Hriday Sen Gupta. In life skill quiz category, winner is Parmar J. Vijay Bhai. Training and placement quiz, winner is Hasmita Balu Bhai. Scratch game development, winner is Parth Dave. The photographic event, the artsy, winner is Sayan Chakrabarti. So I am really proud to all the winners, and my dear winners, you all will be receiving your Amazon cash vouchers by today evening. So thanks a lot, everybody. I am really thankful to President Shri Rishabh Bhaiya Prasad Ji Jain, Vice President Shri Adi Rishabh Jain, Managing Director Shri Rishi Jain, Mr. Sudip Banerjee, Mr. Hemant Salal, Mr. Shivan, and at last, I am also thankful to all the team of Swarrnim University and CollPoll University who are implementing the ERP in the university. From university side, I am thankful to Dr. Gaurav Amita, and from CollPoll side, I am thankful to Mr. Shivang Abhishek. So we are through with the inaugural program of the Swarrnim's CollPoll ERP launch. I am really thankful to all the stakeholders, all the faculty members, all the staff members, all the students, all the alumni students, all the startup mentors, all the industry partners for attending this session. Thanks a lot.